Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me? Yeah? Okay. All right. Um, all right. So, John and I moved here 25 years ago and from New York area. And Missoula is the most comfortable place I've ever lived. I just love it here. I do have to get back to a city fix once in a while, but I love Missoula. I just think it's a great spot, and I'm very happy to be here. Um, okay, so for about the past, where is it? Oh, sorry. Is that better? Here? Is that okay? All right. Yeah, I can't see what it's doing with the mask. Anyway, my show at the MAM was, it was called Act 3, and I started making these stage paintings after I had gone through about 5 years of some pretty scary health stuff. And sort of the outcome of that became, I guess, I found this piece of metal that it was some architectural thing, I'm not sure what it was, but I looked at it and it just reminded me of how I felt, sort of empty and cold. And so I did this painting and put it on stage. And I liked it. I just felt like, wow, this is kind of an interesting vehicle to sort of say what I wanted to say about things. And I realized I could paint anything on stage. So they became sort of political, personal. Some involved friends that I'd lost. Some involved getting rid of protection of federal lands. Some became water issues. You know, as we're coming into fire season, that's always a scare in the back of my mind. And, you know, the Flint, Michigan having clean drinking water. So I realized I could put anything on stage that I was thinking about at the time. And I've done that and some other series of little prints that were, I guess one of the things I always want to do is stay grounded and rooted where I am. And part of doing that is I always have my phone, which I really think of more as a camera. And I do these little prints, and that's a series called a Balance series, where I can take a picture of exactly what's at my feet. And then without moving the camera, I switch it to selfie mode and take exactly a picture of the sky. And then with the camera again, I can take the GPS coordinates of exactly where I'm standing. So it's basically a lot of things, what I can do with an iPhone that's not a phone. So I think of it kind of more of as a camera than I do a phone. And that series is sort of ongoing as well as the curtain series. And they both kind of relate to each other to a degree. It's, you know, well, this one kind of has the sky in there. But anyway, I applied for this open air residency because I guess there's been so much in the past, 4 years or 3.5 years. It seems we've gotten regressed about our acceptance of other cultures. And with all the Black Lives Matter and everything going on, it just seems so separate. And I wanted to come out here to be able to be here. I don't know if you guys, is anyone here Native American? Okay, so everyone else is from somewhere else. My heritage is Irish. I've married into an Italian family that I adore. And so we're all from somewhere else, and we all came here for different reasons. Most of them were better opportunities for our future generations. Coming out here, there were Italians and Japanese, some Germans, and at times some Native Americans interned here, but mostly, or imprisoned here. Mostly it was the Italians and the Japanese, and there were about 1,000, 1,200 or so of each of those, and they were kept separate. I thought when I came out here that I would do something that I had in the back of my mind as sort of cultural gifts, because we've all sort of taken on, accepted things from other cultures that have become sort of part of who we are. And originally this was going to be sort of a series of a curtain with maybe a hand holding some kind of food as an offering. Then I got here and that didn't happen. And sort of the reason behind that, or because of that, is I would drive out and sit at the field there where the barracks were, where people were imprisoned, and think about if I were taken away from everything that was familiar to me, what would I want to see? So that changed to sort of iconography. This is kind of where the spot is, where the there's a big field now where the internment camps were. And if you look at the water tower, Lolo Peak is over there. And I was thinking, you know, someone might be thinking that sort of looks like Mount Fuji. And then the stanchions that hold up that water tower could be a shrine gate. These are the sort of ramparts of, you know, the original entrance to Fort Missoula. The cherry trees represent a lot. There's such an iconographical Japanese thing, but there are also the cherry trees that line the mall in Washington. I lived in Washington for 5th grade, and we saw those, and they're absolutely beautiful. And this isn't finished. There's going to be some other things that happen. These represent the soldiers, and this is some of the stuff that I've gotten from Ted and from other sources, and just sketching out at the field. So there's a line of soldiers. There's going to be this red part up here is called a norin, and you see those in front of all sorts of Japanese businesses. And they say a lot of times welcome, or beer and wine, or whatever the store is selling. And so this will have something on here that I'm thinking about 5 columns, which represented sort of the Americans' thought of Japan after bombing Pearl Harbor. 5 columns is, the 4 columns would be Japan, the 5th column would be espionage that was going on here from the Japanese. And so it's going to have some kind of relation to the 5th column. I'm not sure quite how that's going to happen. The other thing that's going to happen is there's going to be sort of representative barbed wire here, and that's probably going to be sewn on with silver threads. The reason I separated the sky from the background is because this is sort of what I figure someone might imagine longing for home. The sky would be reflecting what's there. This sky does not reflect these things, which it should. It's reflecting a different place. And so that's what I was thinking about, removing yourself from a place that you love. And this is sort of a back to reality of it. And then the barbed wire will sort of enhance that, I think. I've called it raking sand. The reason for that is because of those beautiful Japanese Zen gardens. that just requires so much patience. And that's one thing about the Japanese culture that I really adore, is the patience and the respect for arts and little things, and the patience of making things, and that being able to work, and it's respectful. It's a very respectful culture. The difficult thing for me is the next one, is the Italian one. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, and it's very close to me because of all my in-laws. And then the Native American one will probably be the last one that I work on. And so I've got to figure those out. Anyway, does anyone have any questions?
Kathy, so the curtains are supposed to look like the Zen garden?
Right, the
Oh,
raked
I love
sand.
that.
Yeah, so that's what I started with, because I thought I was going to put something like a bowl of sushi there. I don't know. But I was doing the curtains and thinking about those Zen gardens and the raked sand. And then sitting out there, my car, just wondering what someone would feel like being forced from home and their family and everything that was familiar. So it became longing, and that's what I was wanting to talk about. And then this part became the reality of where you were. The sky was actually this, not what you were wanting to see. Anyway, so that's where I am now. And these are just some reference pieces. I do little drawings and look at, that was a picture from Ted that it was just soldiers. All I wanted was the outline of them because they're just from the back. And different, a shrine gate and some cherry trees and Lolo Peak looking kind of like Mount Fuji. So anyway, any questions?
Kathy, I just have a comment.
Uh-huh.
That I really love how you describe them as, what did you say, cultural gifts? Or?
Yeah, the things that we, rather than, I don't know, I guess I have a hard time with a little bit on the cultural gifts. I think there's a narrow line between appropriation and incorporation. And I don't always see that as a bad thing. I think every culture has to, try and retain what is important for them. But there are also things that need to be shared. And that's what I was thinking about. Food stuff came to mind first, because we all, associate cultures with food. Hi. And so,
No, but it's more than ever is it relevant right now.
well, yeah, that's the thing. Is there's so much, yeah, that. I mean, I lived in New York during the race riots in the 60s, and I remember going on the highway through New Jersey, Passaic and Trenton, and you could see everything on fire. And I was 10 years old, and it was scary, and it's still scary. I mean, it's still going on, after all these years. And how do we end this? I don't know, but I guess I guess for me, putting things on stage that I think that I'm thinking about helps me deal with these things, and hopefully maybe someone else. I don't know. Any other questions? Yeah, hi, Mary.
Have you taken any photographs for your ballad series here?
No, I haven't. But that's an interesting thing. I probably will incorporate some of that here, because there's a lot of interesting material. I've gone and taken pictures of some of the exhibits. At one point I was going to put that the original sign, which were between these two ramparts, which said "Stop," no trespassing, internment camp. And then I kind of thought, no, I really just wanted to put what the sky might have been on that day, that someone was out there thinking about home.
circulate the soldiers more? Or?
I'm not sure. I did a little bit yesterday,
Yeah,
but
I saw a little,
yeah,
we
because
have
they
a
were really,
studio next to each other. So
yeah, so we can talk about
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to make them specific people
Right,
at
right.
all.
I think the balance is just beautiful right now, though. I just think it's.
Well, that's got to have something that that's going to sort of be referential to espionage, which happens in every war, and even not wars. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet, but it'll be. I think regarding the fifth column, which were the Issei, the original Japanese that lived here, that were not citizens. They couldn't be granted citizenship, but they had been in the States. They had established families and businesses, and they were torn away and sent to, Minidoka or Hart Butte or one or the other. I don't know. How many were there? Like 12 or so? Yeah. Internment camps.
Yeah. And their kids were American.
Right.
They were.
Right. They were citizens, and some of their parents were taken here while their son was off fighting for the U.S. So it was just nutty. I mean, I can't imagine what that would have felt like. So, yeah, and there's an interesting,
Lost their businesses that they had spent.
right, and yeah, and then they went back. There's a, I guess in part of this, we started out looking at the costumes and everything, and that was really fun. And down to the basement with all the stuff. And my sister works for the Parks Department, so she told me about this thing called Tadaima, which is the Japanese pilgrimage of the families going back every year to Minidoka and Hart Butte or wherever their ancestors were held in captivity. And they can't do that this year, so they're doing it online. And it's been a really interesting thing to listen to. It's all different segments of it, and it's gone on for I think 6 weeks now. Next week it starts the 7th week, and I haven't been able to watch as much as I want because we don't have internet over there, which is a good thing. Yeah. It is a good thing because I've never done a residency, but all you can do is paint. I mean, it is so nice just to not have laundry, dishes, or anything else, It's really nice to have this luxury of time. I'm really going to miss it.
That goes back to that word of solitude.
Yeah.
The towers.
Yeah, versus isolation, right?
Yeah.
I had friends
Yeah.
working them, and they went there because they wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And create. They could write music or whatever and still. So
Yeah,
it's food for creativity.
It's really nice just to know that this time is for that, and it's been great. So thank you.
The building has a lot of weight to it too, being we're in T1, the T1 building.
Oh,
It's a heavy building.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
feel
The wind was blowing and this morning, and it was just eerie.
Yeah.
But that's where they tried. People were put on trial to decide whether or not they were enemies of the country. And
Yeah, it's a lot.
yeah,
You can feel it. You can
Yeah.
feel it.
Yeah.
When I'm alone there at night, and then I don't use the women's bathroom anymore. I just use the men's.
It's been
bathroom.
locked.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It's locked?
we have to use the men's
Because
bathroom.
it's like you have to go all the way down the hallway, and there's all these doors, and it's just like.
And there's tons of books, because if anyone wants to bring books, this is where you donate them to. When is that, Ted?
November.
Okay. Yeah, so a lot of the books are stored there. And there's a big old dictionary or encyclopedia that's got a leather cover. I don't know when it was from, but it's just beautiful. So you can have diversions if you want them, but I pretty much don't. So, anyway, anything else? Anyone? Thanks, you guys.